Hello everybody and welcome back to another update video. Now finally Jagex has released the upcoming rewards for the new Nex boss. Now Nex is scheduled to be released sometime in late 2021 and this is the first look we'll have at what Nex is going to drop. Now these are just the first iteration and are likely subject to change, but today we're going to have a look at all of the rewards and any other information that Jagex has released in yesterday's poll blog. So as always guys, if you do find these videos helpful, always appreciate a like on the video, helps out a ton, gets the information out there. Thanks a lot guys, and let's get started. Okay, so I don't know how I missed this yesterday, but Nex rewards have been released. First up here, we have a new teaser image of Nex, looking a little bit more polished, although to me, they still look a little bit odd. So the first new information we've gained today is first, how do you access Nex? Now to be able to kill Nex, you will have to actually complete a mini quest, and to get access to the mini quest, you need to have completed Desert Treasure. After completing Desert Treasure, a messenger will come up to you shortly after and will introduce the mini quest. That said, similar to the other GodWars dungeons, not very high requirements to kill Nex. Now Nex is primarily a group boss and you can kill it in groups of up to 80. Now you are able to buy a private instance for Nex and it starts at 150,000 coins each. However, to be able to purchase it, you need to have at least completed the hard tier of the combat achievements, so they are tying more rewards into it. Over time, maybe combat achievements will actually be worthwhile doing strictly for the rewards. Now the way that the reward drop system works at Nex is a little bit different than most other monsters and definitely different than the other GodWars bosses. So Nex rewards are going to be shared across all players that contributed enough, with higher performing players bagging more loot, and the MVP of the kill raking in a little bit extra as well. All contributing players have a chance of obtaining a unique item, however the chance scales based on individual contribution, so this may be more comparable to a raids style drop system versus a conventional PvM boss. So most importantly, what are the drops going to be? Well, first up, there is going to be a pet drop. I would hazard a guess at 1 of the 5,000, but who knows, maybe it'll be less because Nex is more challenging. First up here, we have another godsword, the Ancient Godsword. So the Ancient Godsword will share the exact same stats as every other godsword does. Of course, the main differentiating factor is the special attack. So the special attack is kind of interesting. It is called Blood Sacrifice, and it will cost 50% of your special attack energy. So when you use the special attack, it'll double the usual accuracy, and if it hits, it will deal 10% extra damage, nothing too special there. However, the unique effect here is when you hit an opponent with a special attack, that will start an 8-tick timer, and if within that time the target doesn't move at least 5 tiles away, they'll be hit for 20 damage, and the attacker will be healed for 20 hit points. Kind of an interesting ability, probably fairly niche. I'm kind of interested to see where that would be useful in PvM over something like a Ceremonial Godsword, but it is a fairly unique ability. So next up here we have the Zeroite Bow. Now the Zera Bow is going to be a tier 80 ranged weapon, non-degradable, and can fire up to dragon arrows. So by default, the Zeroite Bow has a special effect that allows it to target an additional monster if it's within 2 tiles of your main target, and the attack doesn't use any additional arrows, so it's kind of an AoE bow. And this can be augmented further with the new Zeroite Vambraces, which we'll get to in a minute, to attack an additional 2 targets, so you can kind of multi-attack 3 things at once. Now they give a ton of DPS calculations, but in the end this kind of breaks down to the Zeroite Bow being best in slot when you're attacking 2 or 3 monsters at once. However, Chinchompas will still be better DPS for stacks of 4 to 11 monsters. So a fairly unique effect. One other thing that kind of separates it from other bows though is it has a fairly long attack range and a quick attack speed, which should make it feel quite a bit different than other ranged weapons. So I mentioned this earlier, but the next reward we have here are Zeroite Vambraces. Now, Zeroite Vambraces are I think one of the few rewards here that are just a straight up upgrade. Zeroite Vambraces are now going to be the new best in slot ranged gloves, offering a much stronger ranged attack bonus and even a ranged strength bonus. So if we compare these to the next best option, which are Barrow's gloves, they have 6 extra ranged attack, an additional 2 ranged strength bonus, and even a prayer bonus. So they're going to be substantially stronger. And in addition to them being best in slot ranged gloves, they will also allow your Zeroite Bow to attack up to 3 targets versus 2 without it. Now the final big gear set that will be offered from Nex is the Virtus robe set. Now this is a set of magic armor and will consist of a mask, top, and legs, which all require 75 defense and 80 magic to wear. Now these are going to be somewhat of a side grade to Ancestral, and they will primarily be focused on augmenting your ancient magic spellbook. So how do they differ from Ancestral? Well, they're fairly similar on paper. They have fairly similar defensive stats, although Virtus being marginally tankier. However, where they differ is the Ancestral set offers a flat 2% magic damage bonus per piece, where Virtus doesn't have that. Instead, they offer a 3% damage increase per piece, however, only while you're using ancient spells. And additionally, there is a set effect that if you are wearing all three, your ancient spells will get augmented. For example, your smoke spells will now reduce healing by 30% while the target is poisoned. Shadow spells will also drain strength, range, magic, defense, as well as attack. Blood spells will now be able to heal you 20% above your maximum hit points, so you'll get some overheal there. And finally, ice spells will get 10% additional accuracy against frozen targets. So there are definitely quite a few unique effects here. I'm very interested to see how this will compare to Ancestral. Ancestral just being more universally useful because you get extra magic damage everywhere, where Virtus will be only useful for Ancients. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of the Virtus robe set. I think a lot of players felt that maybe a new melee armor set would have made a bit more sense here, as Ancestral really isn't that old compared to Bandos, for example. Of course, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So I didn't mention this earlier, but the Zeroite Bow actually requires charges. Now, how do you get these charges? Well, from any monster you kill within Nex's domain, the Ancient Prison. So any monsters located within the Ancient Prison will drop Nihil shards, and these can be used to charge the Zeroite Bow. However, additionally, you're also able to crush the shards into dust, which is going to be a new secondary ingredient for a new potion, the Ancient Brew Potion. An Ancient Brew is a combination of Nihil Dust and a Dwarf Weed Potion and will require 85 Herblore to make it. The Ancient Brew is going to boost your magic by 5% plus 2. It will also restore your prayer by 10% plus 2. And this will also allow you to boost your prayer 5% over your base prayer level. That said, it'll also drain your attack, strength, and defense by 10% plus 2, so it's really only going to be useful if you just need magic. Now finally, there are 3 more rewards here that are more minor but still being pitched as part of Nex. First up here we have the Blood Essence, which could be one of the solutions for the lack of blood runes, specifically for Ironman. Now a Blood Essence can be brought blood rune crafting, and if you have an activated Blood Essence in your inventory, there will be a chance to create additional blood runes at a rate of 1,000 additional blood runes per essence. So because you have to bring the Blood Essence with you, this will result in a bit less experience per hour, but more blood runes per hour. Personally, I think this is kind of a weird place to introduce an item like this. I don't really know why it comes from Nex, but next up here we have Ecumenical Key Shards, which presumably would be dropped from Nex or maybe some of the minions. Essentially, if you gather 50 of these, you can combine them into one Ecumenical Key. And finally here we have a cosmetic robe set called the Ancient Ceremonial Robes. These existed back when Nex was originally released, and while they pretty much just have the same stats as monk robes, worth noting though is they no longer will allow you to bypass the kill count, which is essentially what they did back in RS2. So yeah, that's it for the blog. A ton of new rewards here. Most of them seem pretty niche, barring a few. But as always, let me know what you guys think about them down below. On the 20th of October, we'll be able to test these in-game with a beta, so we won't be wondering too long how exactly these are going to work. So I look forward to testing them out then, and yeah, I'll probably give you my final opinion then. Anyway guys, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time. Now, before I go here, I want to give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thanks so much to Sejuani's Flail, The Hybrid, Guy Fox, Timothy Chen, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. You guys, it honestly means so much you guys are willing to support me that much. Thank you. Also, a giant thank you to Base Titch, Mexos, NDM001, and YoYoSub89 for being subscribed at the Runite tier. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. Mainly, you'll be immortalized in all of my future videos, but you also get a custom role in my Discord server, as well as access to my video release schedule. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.